Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Unstoppable Overcomers. I'm your host, Dorothy Odell. We are just coming back from a great weekend, and I don't know about wherever you were doing. We had the biggest event to date here in Canada. We had the third annual Don Gray Memorial Golf Classic this past weekend. I'm telling you guys, the support was amazing, off the charts. We had 17 teams, 11 hole sponsors, 24 door prizes, and 67 people that were absolutely thrilled with how the weekend went. It was a bit wet, but everybody had fun. Money was raised. I don't have the exact total, but I know that we are able to help two families in the Chatham-Kent area get the help they need with some medical bills and things like that. So that's awesome. So that's I know we're at least $2,000. I'm still waiting for some more money to come in. So that was huge. Really, really glad about that. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go check my website, unstoppableovercomers.com/events, and you'll figure that out. See that. And next year is August 9th. So save that date. I'm going to get some save the dates going out soon. But we are here because I have the distinct pleasure of having Chason Forehand on the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So clap your hands, have him on. It's funny because my partner in the green room met him for the first time, and I'm like, he's a male version of me. Like, seriously. We both have big hearts. We both love to help people. But Chason, tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
And well, first of all, let's give it up for that great event that you had. Like, that's fantastic. That's a lot of people coming out to support. That's fantastic. I was cheering for you in the background, just going like, that's incredible.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I was I will admit, I'm proud of myself. You know, we went from 6 teams to 17 in 3 years. So, hey, I'm ecstatic. And I know next year we're going to close that Tilbury Golf Course because we are going to have we're going to have 130 people out next year. I know it. No doubt in my mind. That's what's going to happen.
No, that's great. That's great. You know, oh my goodness. I'm just cheering. Like, that's fantastic. We were talking about this before the show started. Like, I'm not even a big golf fan, but I would go just to support you and like say hey and see, drive the cart.
Well, we had some fun. I had my girlfriend Gina Dillon. Shout out to Gina Dillon for helping me. It's always wild as soon as everybody gets there, right? And I knew I needed somebody with a like mindset that just could see a need and fill it and jump right in. And that was my woman. So thankful for her for joining us this Saturday to help me with that event. Like I said, and it takes a team to get it going. And so yeah, bigger and better next year.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
All right, sir. So let's talk about you because I want the world to know about you. So let us know who you are.
Sure. So you know what? I am just I'm a chef that happened to fall into human resources because people thought that I was really good with people. It turns out that I like people a lot and that I'm good at training and bringing people together. And so I fell into human resources in an environment where, you go out back and have a courageous conversation by the dumpsters. That was human resources. And I had to learn, about what does it mean and how do you take care of people better and how do you create safe spaces and what does diversity look like and how do you make people feel more inclusive, that they are included, their voice matters, and that they have a seat, they belong, and they feel valued and seen and heard. All of those things are things along the journey that I had to learn. And it came at a time where I was a wreck of human. I just was, I grew up where I went to church 4 times a week. It was non-negotiable We were in church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and usually like some potluck or something else during the course of the week, visitation, whatever. And a lot of my family served in the church. And uh, I knew all of the things, but I was a drug addict and I just could not get past all of the trauma from my childhood and some of the things that I went through, that I just couldn't see past that and could not latch on. So at the worst time of my life, I am teaching other people and trying to learn how to pour into them when I was just a wreck. So I came across some people, a chef in particular, that was like, you're capable of doing more, and you're the only thing holding yourself back. And it's one thing to hear it from your pastor and your friends and your family. And there were people that, I burned the bridges along the way because I was in bad places where I was just using myself and others. And I had to learn how to get out of that, how to start dealing with the trauma and some of the things in my life so that I could overcome, transform, and be what I was intended to be. And that has led me to opening up my own human resources company that only works with social good entities, and as well opening up the nonprofit. And thank you for streaming that down below. I appreciate that. But opening up HR for You, Incorporated, hrforyou.org, so that we could help other people in our area and around the world get into places where they are able to provide for their families and for themselves and their families. That is what I'm called to do, and how we're going after that now within the 501c3 here.
I love that. And for those of you that are listening, let us know where you're listening in from in the comments. And if you have any question for Chason, just please put them in the comments and we'll definitely do our best to get to them. So Chason, what, if you don't mind my asking, what made you get on the path of drugs? Like what happened that
Sure. Well, you know what? I didn't start, my family is very guarded, and I grew up in an era that I'm a couple of years older than your buddy who's going to come on here later. But we were taught in this era, and we were taught to hold things in. You don't let anybody else see all of this. You don't talk about it. And so for almost 60 years, I have held on, and I've done some things to work on, meditating and praying. What my wife and I do, have a routine in the morning and in the evening, doing stuff with journaling and working through. I have a workbook that I use, but I also knew that in order to get past some of this stuff, I had to talk about it. I had to ask for help. I had to talk about it. And I knew from the 12 steps, the first thing is you admit that you are powerless against your addiction. I'm powerless. I'm not going to be able to do this out on my own. I need the help of a higher power. I need the help of other people in order to get past this. So I knew from this that I needed some help. And I also needed to talk about it. And that me talking about it was going to help other people. I say all of this to get back to your question, because I just, at the end of 2023, just now started talking about it. And I wrote in an anthology where I described some of the things. And I'll go way deep, but I was physically abused by my real mom and abandoned at 5 years old. Then our stepmother was mentally abusive and really, really hateful. I mean, really hateful. And it turned me off to organized religion for the longest time because she had this face. She would show up for all the events and all the things and would put, everybody was just like, oh, you are, I could hear it. I could see it. And it was devastating because I'm like, do you know how horrible this human being is and how she treats us? I'm the oldest of a gaggle of boys. And my youngest brother is multi-handicapped, legally blind, and autistic. So I would get out of school early to come back, get him off the bus until she came home. And then I would go back to school for athletics. And the things that we went through and the stuff that we had to deal with. And my father was on the road constantly trying to make a living, trying to, feed the family and do all this stuff. And she worked like a little part-time thing and stored away the money. And it just, there were things that just ate me up. And I started crashing. I actually had a couple of times where I was really at my lowest and, hit a brick wall. And one of those times I went to 3 different high schools. And one of those times was in my senior year. And I played sports. I'm in all these clubs. I'm in all honors classes. Everything. I'm on the outside. Like I'm straight A's. This looks, I'm the president of the choir. I'm in a special group that gets to leave and go sing, and make money for the school because there's no money in the arts. You got to help yourself. And on the outside, you'd think there's no reason for this. Like what's going on with this guy? Like why is he, doing this? And it just, things started hitting me and I was already, dabbling in drugs during this time period and just, bam. And I've learned over the years that your addictions will follow you and they will, you can't escape that demon. What you can do is redirect the energy into something positive. And that's what I try to do. That's why I pour my heart and soul into the nonprofit. I am not paid. There are no paid employees. We're all volunteers. We are almost 2 years we're a little over 2 years from when we got our 501c3. But, I'm super proud of all the things that we've been able to accomplish and how many people that we have interacted with. Our advocacy is off the chain, reaching over 1 million people. I mean, it's just,
that's awesome.
It's incredible. And our latest program, we are so close to getting off the ground, and that's Transformation Kitchen. So you hear that transformation word again, and it really sits with me because it's our boots on the ground to all the advocacy we do. So we talk about when you take care of your people as a leader, how that should encompass you paying them an equitable, fair wage, a living wage that takes care of them so they can provide for themselves and their family. That should just be part of what you do as a great leader to take care of your people. Right. Not well beyond all the things that we kind of mentioned in the beginning, and all the things that I think are really important that go along with that. But in doing that, what we have done with Transformation Kitchen is take underserved community members that can't seem to get there. Let's reskill them, give them culinary skills, life skills, power skills. Like, how do I balance my budget? And what does it mean to, create a resume and start a LinkedIn profile? And how do we do these things? And then how do we capitalize on the skills that we have? All the while, they're getting food for themselves and their family. They're feeding the food deserts and the food insecure. And as well, they're going to get through this program with a boatload of skills and a living wage job. So either with us as the kitchen grows and we expand, or with a culinary partner. So that, to me, that creates a rippling effect that goes beyond them. And however many students we can get to, the goal is to do 60 plus. It goes beyond them, beyond their family, and it has a rippling effect in the community, so that now we start to break down socioeconomic issues like poverty, homelessness, crime, food insecurity. We can beat these and move forward to create healthier communities. And then that works to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one, and the next city, and the next country, on and on and on. We are fortunate now to have over 90 partners in 6 countries. And
Wow.
I can't wait to actually put a transformation kitchen in each one of those countries, in each one of those places.
Wow.
One of our buddies, one of our strategic alliance partners that is in Nigeria, he's already been like Sammy Kariki. He runs a program called Zone that teaches young kids how to code, how to, work in tech. So imagine if you had that, and then next to it, we put a transformation kitchen. So now we've got an umbrella of doing all these great things. So we can teach people all these different skills. And then the people that are even learning, that are in Zone now, can cross-train and learn some of the power skills and life skills and get those wellness checks that we provide within our service. And I just think of the impact that we could make in that area. So I over and over again, I see it. And then we have multiple people in Canada that have, Toronto, for crying out loud, Toronto and other areas have got some real serious problems with homelessness. And, like, how do we, one of the things that I think of is how this program, this boots on the ground program, can fire up communities to bring people together. Because ultimately, when we get this done, we want to have places where people can stay with us while they're in the program and they get themselves situated, dorms. We also want to have our gardens of hope, where people can learn about composting and fresh vegetables and work in the land.
Well, you could build your garden at the house, and then they get everything all at the same time.
There you go.
Wow, that's incredible. And good for you for not giving up. Because you could have, but you didn't. And yet you keep putting effort into what you're doing. And I love what you're doing. So how does one become a partner? You said you have 90 partners in 6 countries.
Well, we have 4 partnerships. The most common one is called a leader partner. Those are people that are authors, podcasters. They're people from all different industries, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs. They are people that don't have employees, but they are strong business people themselves in their own right. And they believe in putting people first and that people matter. And that conversation we end up having, and we talk about what they're doing and why it matters. So that's the bulk of what we have. We also have employer partners. Whether they have one employer or they have 50,000, their core, they pay people a living wage, and their core values are all about putting people first. And so we have a small pocket of employers that are part of us. And then we have strategic alliance partners. Those are other nonprofits. Those are people that are in community spaces trying to lobby for change in government, etc. And finally, we have sponsors, and that's a yin and yang kind of thing. We get financial support from them, and we provide them with eyes on what they do, because we have a really huge network in, like I said, we've reached over 1 million people. That's between all of our different networks. And one of our big ones is our YouTube platform. So, I mean, we get hundreds of thousands of views on our YouTube platform, and we're approaching 2,600 subscribers. So, I mean, it's literally just taken off, and it's all about the content, the people that we've had on, the people that we've talked to. It's not about this old hockey mug, I'll tell you that. So, really, I mean, honestly, that's where our podcast is. We don't have it any other place right now. We've thought about taking the audio version and putting it out in other places, but that's all of our video content is basically there. So for us, it's a way to highlight what other people are doing. So those are our 4 partnerships: the leader partner, employer partner, strategic alliance, and sponsors. And the sponsors will rotate, but the other partners, we rarely lose partners. It's usually like they're dropping off the universe, or like literally like I just don't ever see them again on social media. They're gone. And it's a shame, because I try to get invested with the people that are here, learning them, texting. There's a lot of them. They're on my phone, and we text back and forth, or WhatsApp, about what's going on. Jason Wilson in Bogota. Well, he's not in Bogota anymore, but he's in Colombia. And, we'll WhatsApp about what he's doing with Circle of Friends and Freedom Fight Expo, and how can we support him. So we both are sponsors for each other. And I love what he's doing. So for us, it's about that. Collaboration is such a huge part of our core and what we believe, because there's a stigma within nonprofits that you have to have the scarcity mindset, and you got to protect yourself, because what if, and I say, what if we all work together? What if all of us work together for the common good? We didn't care about egos or any of that stuff. We cared about getting the job done and helping people. If we all pulled together and did that, it would be incredible. What an impact we could have on the world. And so for us, we have a full heart and open hands. Just like, what do you need from us? How can we support you? And that's, for us, is our ethos. That's where we live.
I love that. And I also have to say that, how did you get into Toronto, if you don't mind my asking?
How did I get into what?
How did you get one of your operations in Toronto?
Oh, we're not there yet.
Oh,
no, we have partners in and around like multiple different areas in Canada.
Right.
And they're like, oh, wow, we need this. And we agree. We want to get the first one up and running here locally in the Newburgh area of New York. So kind of central New York. And then after we get that going and thriving, then we're going to look at, what's next? What's the next place? Right. And there's a lot of emphasis on Canada. So we'll have to see what that means. How hard would that be for us to cross lines and make that happen? I don't know yet. But there's plenty of states too. There's plenty of states in the United States that need this as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Windsor has we're a border city with Detroit, and we have major homelessness problems. Like it was exemplified during the beginning of COVID, and it has gotten worse. It hasn't gotten better. So yeah, I mean, I can see anything that we can try to do, to help the homelessness, even like you said, pairing them up, giving them skills, different skill set, and things like that. That would be amazing.
Homelessness is very complicated, because it's not just one size fits all. And that's the problem. It's because some people are on the streets because they're broken. And when I say broken, that means that something is broken down inside of them. Yeah. And they made that choice because they didn't want to be around anyone else.
Yeah.
The people that are there because they've lost, or they are lost, they're an addict, they've blown, like, all their money's gone into drugs or alcohol or something else. They have placed themselves, people that have put themselves there can go through and work their way out. I was homeless for a period of time because I made bad choices. People that have lost their home, lost their identity, lost that piece, something that has created a situation where they're unhoused. They're not any less of a human being. They need a helping hand, and they don't necessarily want a handout. They want true help that is ongoing, and that's what I feel like programs like what we're doing can do. The people that are struggling mentally, now that's a different story, and that takes a lot of help. And I hope that my hope in that situation is that we constantly have to keep working to try to reach out, let them know that they're valued, that they're still a member of the community, that they're not any less because of where they are, and that we just want the best for them. So,
absolutely. Kimberly had made a comment in the back green room: hand up versus hand out. Absolutely.
Hand up. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. And there's a lot of stigma around homelessness because, I mean, some people think, oh, well, they're just lazy or they're drug addicts or whatever. That's not the case. People, like I said, lost their homes at the beginning of COVID, or losing their homes now, especially with the wave inflation has gone. And some people have made the choice that, for whatever reason, they're broken inside and they don't want help. Right. So you're right. There are so many layers to that. And I don't think anybody should be labeling anybody. I think let's just have love and compassion and see, how we can help each person.
Yeah.
Whether that be giving them, there is a bunch of ladies in this town that I live in that, God bless them, they make meals and then they go down the street and they, hand out the meals, and they have different places like Waterworld and things like that. They'll have a meal. I think it's once or twice a week or more. I mean, there's homeless shelters, but then, there's such an overabundance of people, hitting the homeless shelters that there's not enough room. And I'm sure that's not the only case. Like, that's not the only case that's the case here, but and I'm sure that's the case everywhere around the world. So, making those small progressions in each city, state, or province. I absolutely love that. It's kind of weird because how you described it is basically the infrastructure I had for my Overcomer Academy. And I was just like, I wanted partners for that. And I've been putting it on the back burner because I've been getting the shows up and going. And that was the main focus. And eventually I would get the back half done. And I'm just like, Chason is on something, because that virtually what I had planned what God had planned for me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I was taking a course, and I drew out this picture of what each classroom was going to represent. And I was just like, oh crap. Okay. Well, I don't know what that looks like. And I don't know if I want to take that on, but together we can do anything instead of just one person.
This is true. What's that saying? If you want to see God smile, tell him your plan. God's plan is perfect. His timing is perfect all the time. And we just have to be patient, which is like the hardest thing ever. There was and your previous guest had a segment where she was talking about corn and the corn seed. And it made me think of this pastor that I saw this. He said, faith like a farmer. And he said, there's this, it's seed, sow, time, work, harvest. Seed, sow, time, work, harvest. And the longest period is from that time, work. Time, work. There's no time, could be 5 minutes, 5 hours, 50 years. Time, work. Do the work for the time, and then there will be a harvest. But there will be a harvest. So are you preparing and making yourself ready for that harvest? Are you stuck?
Yes.
So I love that so much. And it made me think of it when she was talking about how hard and how awful corn seed. And she was talking about that in your show. And I was like, oh, yeah. And so it made me think of it.
Yeah. And, we all want everything now, but it's all on God's timing. And, and it's perfect. And the patience part, yes, that is something that I have worked on for the last couple of decades.
I got you there. Yeah. Yeah.
So what is it that you're looking for? Especially whether that be for the profit or the nonprofit arm of your business?
Well, for the profit side, I always get great referrals, and that's just, honestly, I don't even have a website. It literally is by word of mouth. And I only, like I said, I niche down to only working with social good entities. So like B Corps, foundations, nonprofits. But it really is, I do project-based work, come in, come out. And so I'm always, if there are people that are looking for they don't want to buy into the whole SaaS thing. And like, I'm going to sign this long contract. I'm going to get a whole bunch of stuff I don't need. I just need this. Like, can someone help me with my policy and procedure manual? I need to update that. Okay. Well, I do a lot of that. So you'd be surprised how many nonprofits don't update their policy and procedure manuals on a timely basis. And then for the nonprofit, it is, there's three major things. One is pass along the message, tell other people. That's the easiest. The easiest is, hey, you know what? I like what you're doing. I'm going to tell other people about it. It may come up in conversation, whatever. It may be in a post. It may be you sharing something that we said. The second thing is introductions. So you never know what that one introduction might mean. You never know. And what you're thinking in your head, you're led to do, there's a reason. So just do it. I find like, in my head, I'll be like, oh, yeah. And then I'll reach out and say, hey, you should meet so-and-so. They're doing something. I think you guys, just talk about it. And then I leave it up to them. Mm-hmm. I think we're led a lot of times, especially if you're a person of faith, I think we're led a lot of times to do those things, and we talk ourselves out of it. So the first thing is, if it resonates with you, get it out there, talk about it, spread the word. Second thing is introductions. And the third thing is probably the hardest for most people because a lot of people are in trying times. It's been rough for a couple of years. So the third thing is giving of either your time or your financial resources. Both of those things can be very difficult because people have a limited amount of time. We're in a go society. And resources, especially financial resources, are tight. But we've been very blessed in this time period and watching us grow. I know that when we're ready to take the step to either starting with the food truck or starting with a physical place, depending on how the rest of the grants pan out for the rest of this year and our big fundraiser in September, then I am excited that we'll take those steps. We'll walk through the doors as they open. But yeah, reach out in person and say, hey, Chason, this is something that I really like. I'd like to know more about it. Let's jump on a call and we'll take the time to go through it.
Right.
Some people come back over time. Like I've been thinking about this, Chason. It's really been weighing on my heart. Now I'm here. So I have the best board of directors. I have an incredible advisory board. People really come in and jump in. We have committees now. It's unbelievable. We're like the real deal.
Woohoo! Love that. Love that. So what's your fundraiser in September? Because I'm all about fundraisers.
So you're gonna love this. So in my mind, I want to do things differently. I'm all about how can we be different? So we are going to do an old school style 4-hour live telethon. I have people line art, food, and music. And the theme is plentiful. So when we're talking about, we want to create a situation where people can provide for their families. We want there to be plenty. We want it to be plentiful. And so the theme is plentiful. We've got artists that are going to come on and present, live and do presentations and art. And then we might end up even auctioning off the artwork while you're in that segment. And then we're going to have musicians. We've got some pre-recorded, and we're working on trying to get this live person to show up and do their thing, because I can't be doing all this stuff and then try to play my musical instruments at the same time. And then we've got some cooking demos. Woo-wee. So we've got some cool stuff lined up. I'm very excited, but it's a 4-hour live event. You pay $20 to get a ticket, and you can come in anytime you want. You want to come in for this 15-minute segment because this looks interesting, and then 15 minutes before we're gonna kick off the doors, you show up for that one because that's a band that you thought sounded really cool. You have the option to come in and out as you want. $20, and we have sponsors already lined up. I'm looking for more sponsors here to lock that all down in the next few weeks. And then we will obviously take donations and stuff like that. Our goal is $10,000. And that'll be the final key pieces that we need to get our food truck. And yes, so.
Okay, so is this, you say 4-hour event live, so is that at a location in New York, or is this online?
Online. So you will buy a ticket. Imagine something like Eventbrite. So I haven't sealed the deal with them yet, but you buy a ticket through Eventbrite, you get a code that will let you into our StreamYard event, and we'll have it'll be from noon to 4 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, September 27th. And we are going to just have one big old party. And
I love that. Okay, so my friend Tim Sohn is in the comments saying, hey. Shout out to StreamYard. Did you know that Tim and I think we were the first ones to do this. We did a 12-hour and a 24-hour live event.
Good grief.
Yes, we did.
Wow.
We were very blessed. We did it Tim was up for Man of the Year. And so we did one for cancer, 2 for cancer, and we did 1 for veterans.
Nice.
So yeah, I came up with the idea, and I was just I don't know how we're going to do this. And him and I executed it. He wants to do another one.
That's awesome.
Sure, friend. For what cause this time? Let me know. Yes, we are a great team. We are totally a great team. And actually, Tim just moved to New Hampshire, so I don't know how close that is to you, Chason, in New York. So I know it's closer to you than me, but
I'll have to take a look at where he is in New Hampshire. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, possibility. But we didn't do it ourselves. We had a great team. There's a lot of live streamers. He's in Guilford, New Hampshire. Um, we were blessed to have built a community of live streamers, and so each of us took an hour or two, and we rocked it out 24 hours. That and
That's cool.
I stayed up for 23 of the 22 hours. I was ready to just like crash. I'm like, I need a little bit. So my stepson actually slept with my husband on the other side of the house, and my stepson's bedroom is across the hall, and I went in there for like a power nap and came back out. But that was a cool.
That's cool.
Yep. 14 live streamers from around the world, from Alaska to the
Wow.
UK. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that was awesome. That was fun, and it was thrilling. It's it wasn't we did raise money, but what we raised more of was awareness, awareness and community around what we were doing.
Yeah.
There was money raised, but yeah, it was absolutely insane, and we had a lot of people that were like, I can't believe you're doing this. So good for you for doing 4 hours and having that streamed, because that is an undertaking in itself.
That's the longest you could go on LinkedIn. So we wanted it to be on LinkedIn and YouTube. And hopefully by the time we get there, we will, because Facebook changed their policies on going live there. And we didn't have enough followers yet, because we haven't really paid attention too much to Facebook, because I didn't have a Facebook page so I didn't have anybody to like, hey, I'm going to do this page and come on, everybody, come on over. So yeah, that's probably been one of our weakest platforms. So we're hoping that we're going to get that back up so we can do this live over there too.
Yeah, we did it. Well, okay. So just to give you an idea of how we did that. So each streamer streamed on their own platform. Like,
Gotcha.
but it had to, one of the platforms had to be LinkedIn, but then YouTube, and those of us that had Facebook, like I streamed it to all three at the same time, and at that time Twitter. Right now, Twitter's acting weird with StreamYard, or X, whatever you want to call it. It's acting weird right now. I can't get it to come up. It goes down all the time. And that's how you build your community, because you're getting other people's people, right?
Yeah.
So you're bringing more people into your network. And then you just have a TV guide so that it connects everybody, so each person knows where to go next, and just like have them go to there. So just a heads up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a very cool way.
I don't know how to do that part. That's why Tim and I are so great, because Tim did that part and I just brought the people. So
yeah.
Tim's awesome at that. So yes. Oh, wow. So I love what you're doing, Chason. Thank you so much for making a difference within the world. Because so what is your food truck going to be called? Or do you have a special name for that?
Well, it's all part of Transformation Kitchen. So no special name. Unless one of the team names it, then I'll just run with that. But
so does your wife help out with all that too?
Right now, my wife is the secretary. We are actually looking to change her role, and she'll go into more of an advisory role. And the part of that is, as we grow, it looks better if there's not family members in as part of it. So that we started out as we were tiny, and we're doing these things, but as we grow, there needs to not be a whole bunch of forehands running around. It just doesn't look good. So we wanted to make sure that we have everybody on our board of directors and in our advisory board that were part of the process, coming from all different diverse backgrounds. So we are very close to changing that position. And then we're going to actually, our secretary, so Jody is our board secretary. So we're looking to replace her, and I'm interviewing people right now. And then we're going to add a board position because our current person, our current lady, Raven, who is in charge of, she's the treasurer, is going to move over to tech. As we grow, our tech alliance is going to be really important so that we're all communicating back and forth to the different transformation kitchens, our other programs. We're still live streaming. We have our shows because we have 3 shows, like all of this stuff going on. So that's going to be really important. Raven's going to move to take over there as the director of tech. And we're going to bring in a new treasurer. So craziness, but yeah.
Love that. Well, follow Chason for sure. Go to hr-4u.org. Go check him out. If you want to partner with Chason, definitely, message him. All his information is in the show notes. I did put everything that you had in your
Thank you
on that form in there. And so now, though, I have the distinct pleasure of bringing Kimberly up to do the fundamental section of the show. Welcome, Kimberly.
Fundamentals.
Yes, Jason. It's great to be here, and wow, another amazing show, Miss Dorothy, and Chason. Wow, what you're up to! And I'm just now noticing the Michigan behind your head, because
yes.
like Dorothy usually have the big M behind your head. There she
is.
There we go. Look at that. Can't get more fundamental than that.
Go blue.
Go blue. Go big blue. Go big blue. So it's great to be here as always. I did have the wonderful pleasure of getting to be at the event in Canada. So, as a roving reporter, I was there, y'all, roving away. And I know we have some really fun photos that I'm sure Dorothy will put out into the universe for everyone. So it was great to get to be the roving reporter there. And yeah, next week, anticipate me, we could play a game. People could guess where I'm going to be next Monday. So yeah, if people want to reach out to Dorothy and guess where I might be next Monday, I will definitely be roving next Monday. So excited to share about that. With that there, Chason, we are very excited. Oh, and Dorothy, I just have it's so crazy, Chason, because I have a really hard time. And this is kind of nuts, right? Saying who supports and I don't know, sponsors the fundamentals. And I just got that that's all I have to say. Because it's, it's one of my companies that, historically, and it's great, Chason, because a lot of what you pointed to tonight on the show, right? Is like God, like receiving from God and allowing things to flow into you before flowing out of you.
Yeah.
And really doing it as he intends. So kind of perfect for tonight. I'll go ahead and do the shout out for Freedom Group Global because it ties in perfectly, Chason. We have a real estate company with over 50 years of experience, probably closer to actually, if I look, 80. And we are very excited because our current passion projects are being able to house the homeless across the globe. Yeah. And also to help people who are losing their homes due to foreclosure. So lying in with this particular show and the people that we know are hopefully getting fed from tonight's show, that if you're dealing with any of those kind of things or would like to partner with an amazing company, Freedom Group Global, please reach out to Dorothy. We're joint ventured for Unstoppable Overcomers, and it's Freedom Group Global's a privilege to get to sponsor this part of the show. Very so cool. With that complete newly, thanks to y'all, Chason, we would love to hear what your fundamentals are. Please share.
All right. Well, one I would say is humility, integrity, and then collaboration. So those three are crucial to what we do and to me, and they are definitely fundamentals.
Beautiful. And can you say a little bit more about each one of them? So in
Sure.
the world, Chason, right? Like, like you were gonna drop off the face of the earth after the show, and you're leaving humanity with these three fundamentals. What exactly are you asking them to get about humility, integrity, and collaboration? How can they engage those three things?
Great question. So humility to me means more than just it means taking your ego out of the equation, and it means allowing other people to shine and shining a light on what other people are doing, because that kindness builds communities. And that when you can get past yourself to pour into others, and I'm a big fan that you got to fill your cup so that you can pour into someone else. And I had to learn that lesson, but I think it's important. That you make sure that you take your ego out of the way so that you can humble yourself to take care of others. So that's the first one.
Well, Chason, before you move too fast on to number 2 and 3, because you did it so eloquently, I don't think I've ever heard humility shared quite as eloquently as you just did in the realm of, the kindness element of it, right? Like getting that humility is not necessarily about making yourself less than.
Right.
It's creating space for others to expand.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful. So thank you. Got that. Number
Thank
2.
you. Number 2. So when we're talking, I'm spacing here for a second. So I actually was already. I want to talk about the third one first. So I want to talk
You
about.
can make number 2 whatever you make it.
Well, no, because collaboration is really a huge piece of everything we do.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just a giant ethos of what I wish all of humanity was about. We talk about in small spaces, our group, your group, this group, kindness comes around. You can't give it away enough because it's going to come back to you. But imagine if we all, and I mentioned this before in the base of the show, but imagine if every nonprofit, if every business and nonprofit, if every for-profit, nonprofit, NGO, B Corp, if everybody had the ethos, I'm going to pour into my people. I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to make sure that they can take care of themselves and their family, because I know that it's going to affect not just them, but their friends, their family, their community, and then all nonprofits, NGOs, foundations, everybody else that is trying to build and grow and help all these people. If we shared resources and we shared common goals of kind of like what global citizen, think of that whole mindset of pull everybody together to let's knock out poverty. Let's just everyone together. Let's just do it. And let's wipe it off the face of the universe. I think of how we can, in a large scale, take care of socioeconomic issues and just completely eliminate them. That, to me, that is what collaboration is all about.
Well, it's really sexy, dude, because what I kept hearing as you were sharing is it's actually the chemical cocktail or soup, right? We'll stick with kitchen references of your 3 fundamentals. Because where there is humility, there will be collaboration. Where there is collaboration, there will be integrity, which is basically fundamental strength, right? And power, right? And so it would create that natural, organic Big Bang effect in everything that's going on or at work right now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really that's hot.
This
Man.
is good.
That's sizzle hot. Sizzle, sizzle.
Sizzle.
We got ourselves a ribeye. Best Colby beef ribeye ever.
Woo. Woo.
So say a little bit more about integrity.
Integrity to me is, like you said, I think that's the glue. So when you have humility and you take away yourself from not eliminating yourself, but allowing others to be in the picture, and you collaborate with others to make sure that everyone is included and that all communities are represented and that everyone is thriving together. We all rise together. All ships rise together. Integrity is the part where you are laying it all out. That you're full hands in, full hands out. We used to say that in kitchen environments as a chef. You never walk into the kitchen empty-handed. You never leave the kitchen empty-handed. And I feel like that it may not make sense from a standpoint of you've never been in culinary, like, what are you talking about? But integrity is about doing everything you can above and beyond and above board so that everyone can see this is what I am. This is who I am. I have nothing to hide. I have no games to play. I honestly care about creating change. And that to me is full hands in, full hands out. So that's how I equate it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Solid. Really well shared. And Chason, it's just there for me to ask you if you could ask anything of our listeners, if you could ask anything of our listeners tonight, fundamentally, what would you ask of them in light of what you're up to?
Don't sit on the sidelines. It doesn't matter whether it's hrforyou.org or if it's Charity Water. It doesn't matter what it is. Find something, an organization that speaks to your soul, that you love their mission, vision, and purpose, and get involved. Because doing nothing is a choice. And everyone has gifts and talents. Use those gifts and talents to make the world a better place. So that would be my challenge versus a question, really.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. And for the listeners, something just there on my heart to share with you as well is, and it will always give back tenfold, at least, if not 100 or 1,000, right? When you engage in humanity from a place, and it's important, right? Not as a volunteer, but as you would say, Chason, a collaborator. That's the biggest thing. If you're doing it from some place of volunteerism or martyrism, and so when I like volunteers are great. Volunteers are awesome. Unfortunately, though, sometimes we can come from a volunteer lane that very insidiously becomes a martyrism. And that context can be that it will eat on you, right? Versus coming from like you're saying, a place of collaboration and building something and getting to be part of building something and being part of something bigger than yourself. It will not only feed your soul, it will feed your heart, it will feed your mind, and it will keep you healthy, wealthy, as I like to call it. Right. Yeah. So, run, don't walk to Chason's challenge. And it is important that you pick an area that really does make your heart personally sing, and you'll never regret it. You'll never regret it, and you will live a full and happy life. And fundamentally, that's what we're out to create in the fundamentals. So, Chason, mic drop. Back over to you, Dorothy.
Wow, that was a rich, deep fundamental section, pun intended. All right. Well, thank you so much, Chason, for coming on and sharing your story and your passion for helping others. And like I said, like Kimberly said, if you want to get on board with Chason at hr-4u.org, go check him out. Let's get the rest he needs for that food truck. Definitely keep your eyes peeled for September 27th for their fundraiser. Absolutely love that idea. I will definitely be checking that out along with everybody else. And guys, thanks for our listeners for listening, and for those of you on the replay, go check us out on our YouTube channel at Unstoppable Overcomers, and subscribe to our channel. That way, the next time we go live. Share with your friends, because this is definitely a place of hope, encouragement, and inspiration for everybody. So definitely share our message of hope. And Chason, any last words for our guests before we wrap this up?
Oh, no, I just want to thank you both for allowing me to be on here. The great questions. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys, be unstoppable in all you do. And don't forget, same time, same channel next week. Bye for now.